this question can only be asked in Africa, not in any other region of this world. Aid is more political than anything else. For me, when I'm watching on television and I find our leaders who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe to sit there and just... In fact, the image it gives is that we are not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity. We are happy to sit there in Paris with the President of France and just talk about addressing problems.
Why are we afraid when we have a responsibility to represent? I would constantly remind them that I have 1.4 billion people who are counting on me to be the voice. I shall be the voice. And the thing that got me the most was the fear that the ambassadors had of speaking out. Now, I understood the fear was real because all it takes was for the State Department to pick up the phone and call the foreign minister and say, hey, your ambassador is being uncooperative. They don't even have to say why, and next thing you know, the ambassador is being called out. That was one. But at the same time, you are there to represent millions of people. And when you don't speak, those millions of people have no voice. Why are we afraid when we have a responsibility to represent? I would constantly remind them that I have 1.4 billion people who are counting on me to be the voice. I shall be the voice. Why do we lack that confidence? Let me tell you, when I started speaking, in less than a few months, all the members of Congress knew me. They also knew one thing, that if you're going to attend a meeting and the AU ambassador is going to be there, you better be on your P's and Q's. Because I will call you out with facts. I will call you out with knowledge. But along the way, what I also discovered was that a lot of them were quite ignorant. Don't be afraid of them. They don't know. You know more than they do. I can tell you that for a fact. So why are you afraid of them? So if I can leave anything with you guys is fear of those who don't look like you. Unfounded fear. Get rid of it. Don't be a gonzo. Don't be a gudo. You are an inheritor and a representative of an amazing country. The children of Munumutapa. You rule. You rule. Go into that negotiating room with that attitude of saying, I'm going to kick your rear end, period, end of story. I'm going to go into this conference room with an attitude that I got you beat, I rule, and I will win. The best deal is going to be in my corner. Change your attitude.
A revolution is quietly erupting across Africa, but this time, it's not led by guns. It's led by ideas, bold leaders, and an unstoppable spirit of unity. From Burkina Faso's fearless Ibrahim Traoré to Rwanda's visionary Paul Kagame, and the voice of unapologetic truth, Dr. Arikana Chihombori-Quao. Together, they are rewriting the rules, challenging global power, and sparking what many are calling Africa's Pan-African Revolution. And the West, they're panicking. Why? Because for the first time in decades, Africa is no longer asking for permission. At just 34 years old, Ibrahim Traoré became the world's youngest president. But he wasn't just taking office. He was igniting a revolution. Burkina Faso, once shackled by decades of foreign dependency, military coups, and terrorism, suddenly had a leader who looked to Sankara, not Sarkozy, for inspiration. In his very first months, Traoré expelled French troops, closed Western bases, and redirected military policy toward real independence. But it wasn't just military. He demanded resource control. Gold mines once owned by French conglomerates, reclaimed. Aid tied to exploitation, rejected. To the West, Traoré was unpredictable, dangerous, but to millions of young Africans, he became a symbol of possibility, resistance, and pride. While Traoré ignited revolution in the Sahel, another force was building something equally powerful, but quietly. Rwanda's Paul Kagame had spent 20 years transforming his country from genocide to a global tech hub. Under Kagame, Rwanda became one of the fastest-growing economies in Africa. But more than growth, Kagame was playing chess, not checkers. He distanced himself from Western influence, strengthened ties with China and Russia, and demanded African solutions to African problems. Now, in this new alliance forming with Traoré, Kagame brings legitimacy, infrastructure, and global respect. Together, they represent two ends of the same revolution: military resistance and economic defiance. And then, there's the voice that cannot be silenced. Dr. Arikana Chihombori-Quao. France takes $500 billion from Africa every year. Every year. We are not poor. We are being looted. Former AU ambassador to the US, Arikana exposed the dark underbelly of Francafrique, the shadowy grip France holds over its former colonies. For speaking out, she was removed, silenced, but not stopped. Her message to the diaspora? Come home, build Africa, protect it. And they're listening. From Atlanta to Accra, Lagos to London, the Pan-African message is echoing louder than ever. In Washington, Paris, and Brussels, the alarms have gone off. The rise of Traoré, the defiance of Kagame, the global voice of Arikana. To the West, this isn't just an African trend, it's a threat. In just 24 months, France has been kicked out of 4 Sahel nations. Its bases closed. Its troops forced to pack up and leave lands they once dominated. Without fear. In Niger, the U.S. airbase, one of its largest drone hubs in Africa, is also being challenged. In the UN Security Council, Western diplomats now face unified African blocs instead of scattered voices. We cannot abandon our responsibility in Africa. But Africans are no longer waiting. Economic blackmail, media smear campaigns, and even covert destabilization have all been deployed. Yet, the new leaders aren't backing down. The world is witnessing a tectonic shift, an open challenge to 60 years of neo-colonial control. But this isn't just a rebellion. This is the birth of a new Africa. In Rwanda, youth build drones and AI labs. In Burkina Faso, farmers once forgotten now export food to neighboring countries. In Ghana, tech returnees from Silicon Valley are launching startups to solve local problems. We must not only liberate ourselves from foreign rule, but from foreign thought. Across the continent, a new ideology is taking shape, one that is Pan-African, unapologetic, and forward-facing. The Pan-African dream is no longer an idea, it's a project in motion. Traoré gave it teeth, Kagame gave it strategy, Arikana gave it voice, and the people, they gave it fire. For centuries, the West has written Africa's story, with blood, with chains, with lies. But now Africa is holding the pen, and it's writing a story of freedom, unity, and power. Traoré stands with his people. Kagame builds his nation with quiet precision. Arikana speaks across continents, calling every African soul home. This isn't just a movement, it's a revolution, a Pan-African revolution, and it has already begun. If the story moved you, if it opened your eyes, then you are part of the revolution too. Africa is rising, and this time, no one can stop it.
Hello and welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the latest news updates from around the world. In today's video, we will be discussing the historic meeting between two African leaders, Paul Kagame and Ibrahim Traoré, and what their partnership means for the future of Africa. This is a story that you won't want to miss. So stay with us until the very end. Let's dive right in. Paul Kagame, the visionary leader of Rwanda, has been making headlines recently by expressing his support for Ibrahim Traoré, the young revolutionary president of Burkina Faso, who has taken the country by storm. The two leaders met at the 4th edition of the Transform Africa Summit in Kigali, Rwanda, where they discussed a range of important topics such as regional security, sustainable development, and the African Continental Free Trade Area. He spoke out against corruption, bad governance, and the exploitation of natural resources and called for a new era of African leadership that puts the needs of its people first. Traoré, who was also a speaker at the event, echoed these sentiments and called for greater cooperation among African countries to tackle common challenges and promote peace and security. However, it was their meeting that had everyone buzzing with excitement. Could this be the start of a beautiful friendship? Many are seeing this meeting as a sign of a new dawn for Africa, a chance for the continent to come together and chart its own course towards a brighter future. Many African countries have suffered from a cycle of instability and bad governance, often perpetuated by foreign powers who seek to exploit the continent's vast natural resources. However, there is growing momentum towards democracy and good governance in Africa. Rwanda has emerged as a regional powerhouse in recent years, thanks to its strong leadership, commitment to good governance, and its success in promoting peace and security in the region. Kagame's meeting with Traoré is likely to further cement Rwanda's position as a key player in African politics and could open up new opportunities for cooperation and collaboration. And the meeting between Kagame and Traoré could be seen as a symbolic break from the past and a commitment to a brighter future. As a relative newcomer to the world of diplomacy, he will need to navigate a complex web of alliances and rivalries to make real progress. These are two young leaders who are not afraid to think big and challenge the status quo. They represent a new generation of African leaders who are committed to the principles of African unity and solidarity. I am excited to see what the future brings to them and to Africa as a whole. He understands that Africa needs to engage with the rest of the world in order to develop, and that this means working within the existing global system. He has been accused of suppressing dissent and of being autocratic. However, Kagame argues that his government is committed to protecting the rights of its citizens and that he has a responsibility to maintain stability and security. Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain: Kagame is a leader who is not afraid to think outside the box and challenge the status quo. And that alone makes him a game changer for Africa. This has led to a complex relationship with Western countries, particularly the US and European nations, which have criticized his government's human rights record while at the same time praising his economic policies. This has led him to seek out partnerships with countries like China, which have become major players in Africa in recent years. His government has invested heavily in education and healthcare and has made significant progress in reducing poverty. Kagame's critics argue that these improvements have come at the expense of personal freedoms and that his government is corrupt and undemocratic. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insightful content like this. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, stay informed and keep asking questions. However, Kagame's supporters argue that his government has made significant strides in improving the lives of ordinary Rwandans and that he is the best leader the country has ever had. Kagame has also been a proponent of regional integration. He has pushed for closer ties with neighboring countries and has been involved in efforts to resolve conflicts in the region. One example is the Democratic Republic of Congo, where Kagame has played a key role in efforts to end the conflict in the eastern part of the country. Plus, he will need to balance the demands of his people with the need to maintain stability and security in a volatile region. Nevertheless, the support of a respected leader like Kagame could go a long way towards helping him achieve his goals. Kagame has long been seen as a champion of African unity and progress. For starters, it signals a new era of African leadership. Do you think this is the start of a beautiful friendship, or do you have other thoughts? We would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content like this. Thank you for watching. We will catch you in the next one. Both Kagame and Traoré are relatively young leaders who have come to power in recent years. His ideas are changing the game for Africa. Kagame has been a vocal critic of the global elite and their institutions. He challenged the Bretton Woods institutions, the World Bank, and the IMF, questioning their policies and their impact on Africa. At the Transform Africa Summit, he criticized the global financial system, stating that it favors those who lend money over those who need it. Kagame has also been a critic of the UN, which he believes has not done enough to protect African countries and their citizens. They represent a new generation of African leaders who are not afraid to challenge the status quo and think outside the box. They are also both committed to the principles of African unity and solidarity, which is essential if the continent is to overcome the challenges it faces and realize its full potential. He has consistently advocated for good governance, regional integration, and the empowerment of African youth. In fact, he is the only leader who has been invited to 3 consecutive inaugurations of the U.S. president. Many African countries are now looking to forge new partnerships and alliances that prioritize African interests. Regional integration is essential if Africa is to become a major player on the global stage. By working together and pooling our resources, African countries can achieve greater economic growth, improve infrastructure, and provide better services for their citizens. The AFCFTA, a significant step in this direction, and the meeting between Kagame and Traoré demonstrates the commitment of these two countries to making the project a success. The meeting between Kagame and Traoré could be seen as a step in this direction, signaling a shift away from France and towards a more independent and self-reliant Africa. You don't have to be told how influential he is. He doesn't do things halfway. The partnership between Kagame and Traoré could be the catalyst for change that Africa needs to overcome the challenges it faces and realize its full potential. He came to power in September 2022 after leading a group of soldiers in a coup that ousted the country's longtime ruler, President Paul Henry Damiba. Since then, he has wasted no time in making bold moves that have shocked many, including the cancellation of France's military base in the country and the expulsion of thousands of undocumented foreigners. These actions have not only put him at odds with some of his neighbors, but have also earned him the nickname Soldier President. Despite the criticism he has faced, however, Traoré remains undeterred. He has made it clear that he is not afraid to take unpopular decisions in order to protect the interests of his country and its people. And this is something that Kagame, a fellow head of state who has also faced his fair share of criticism for his own controversial policies, would undoubtedly admire. It is no secret that Kagame is one of the most respected leaders in Africa. He has led Rwanda from a devastating genocide to become one of the fastest-growing economies in the region with a thriving tech sector and a strong focus on innovation. On the other hand, Traoré, who came to power just a year ago after leading a military coup, are already making waves with his bold moves to tackle corruption, improve the lives of ordinary citizens, and challenge the status quo. Together, these two leaders could be a force to be reckoned with. So, what exactly did Kagame and Traoré talk about during their meeting? Well, according to a statement released by the Rwandan presidency, the two leaders had a fruitful discussion on a number of issues, including regional security, sustainable development, and the AFCFTA. They also exchanged views on how to strengthen cooperation between their two countries in areas of mutual interest. But it is clear that their conversation went far beyond just bilateral relations. These two leaders have a shared vision for Africa, and they are not afraid to speak out about it. During his speech at the summit, Kagame did not hold back when addressing the challenges facing Africa and its people. But it is their meeting that has really got people talking. Now let us delve deeper into the details of this groundbreaking meeting and explore what it means for the future of Africa. However, Traoré is relatively new on the African political scene. The meeting between the two leaders is all the more significant given the troubled history of military coups in Africa. So what does the meeting between Kagame and Traoré mean for the future of Africa? Another important aspect of the meeting is the fact that it highlights the growing importance of Rwanda in African politics. It is also worth noting that the meeting took place against the backdrop of growing discontent with France's colonial legacy in Africa. Finally, the meeting is also a reminder of the need for African countries to prioritize regional integration and the African Continental Free Trade Area, but it is still early days for Traoré. If you ask me, I think the meeting between Kagame and Traoré is a promising development for Africa. Let us know your thoughts on the partnership between Kagame and Traoré in the comments section below. Now let's unpack Kagame's bold strategies and Pan-African response to global challenges. Despite these criticisms, Kagame has also been a pragmatist. One of Kagame's most controversial policies has been his approach to human rights. Despite these controversies, Kagame remains popular in Rwanda. He is seen by many as a strong leader who has brought stability and prosperity to the country. Only time will tell whether Kagame's bold strategies will pay off and whether he will be remembered as a visionary leader who helped Africa break free from its colonial past, or as an authoritarian who used economic growth to justify his repressive policies. Thank you for watching this video.